What is up, fantasy community at large, NFL fans, and can't forget the Pro Football Demon universe. I am Kevin Phillip Fox, and I am here with the Pro Football Demon himself. Demon, how the hell are you?
I'm great, man. I've been looking forward to this all week. I'm excited to get going.
Dude, it's one of my favorite hours of the week, man. The fantasy Q&A show, legit football, Pro Football Demon. I'm Kevin Phillip Fox. Brian McFadden's going to be joining us. I know there's some panic in the chat that we might not have McFadden. Don't worry. We have McFadden. Demon said he's been collecting questions pretty much all day. So if he wants to start teeing them up, I got nothing more to say other than, are you ready for some football, Demon?
I'm absolutely ready. I think Brian's
Born
licking
ready.
his wound from that Miami loss this week.
That's why he didn't want to, we get the jokes out in the opening of the show. He knew he would be subjected to targeting.
Yeah.
So he's coming in a little late thinking he can sneak in. We'll still take our shots, Demon. We'll still take our shots.
We'll save him to the end. We got Mr. Squishy here that had the first question in the chat. He got it in at 2:08 p.m.
Love that.
Eastern Standard Time.
That's dedication, Squishy.
So start at QB, Stroud, Love, or Fields. And then he has a second question here. Start running back, pick 2, Pollard, Gibbs, Moss, or McLaughlin. What do you think, Kev?
Wow, that's really hard right off the bat. Stroud kind of feels like a must start. Jordan Love cooled off a little bit last week. He still had a good fantasy performance. And Fields, God, I want to say Fields so badly because of rushing upside. And, the Commanders aren't as good as they've been in the past. They have sort of a lore about their defense, but they're pretty pedestrian. So I think I'll go with Stroud, Demon. Am I crazy for that?
No, that's exactly who I was going to pick. CJ Stroud, there aren't many quarterbacks that I think I would pick over Stroud right now.
Right.
And you're giving me Love or Fields. Fields played Denver last week, so I need to see it more to be able to trust Fields. And Love has been okay. He's been pretty good, but Stroud's been lighting it up, man.
Yeah, he's been lighting it up. Texans have the Falcons, not exactly elite against the pass. They're not bad by any stretch. We love Jesse Bates on this show, obviously. If we're looking at the other matchups, the Packers, I'm doing some scrolling here. The Packers have the Raiders and Monday Night Football. So Love should be eating there. That's probably my second choice.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting matchup because the Raiders can be just absolutely horrendous on defense.
And then we got your RB. So it's Pollard, Gibbs, Moss, or McLaughlin. Pick 2.
Got to get Moss out of there with the Jonathan Taylor uncertainty. Unfortunately, it's been fun. I was the biggest Zach Moss hater when he was a Bill. I was so happy when we traded him for peanuts. But then, I was happy to see his career kind of take a little bit of a resurgence this year. But with Jonathan Taylor, there's no saying, how that's going to look this weekend. Demon, I'd like to get your thoughts on Taylor this weekend as a play. I'm sure we'll get to it. I don't want to jump the gun. So get Moss out of the paint. I like the idea of Gibbs having a sort of a breakout game, and then Pollard. Those would probably be my 2. Demon feels the safest.
I think you have to go Gibbs and Pollard. McLaughlin looks good, but we don't know how he's going to be utilized. That offense has been so on and off, mostly off, and they're playing a tough Jets defense.
Exactly.
So, I don't know what to do with McLaughlin. But they're not using Gibbs. But if there is a guy here who could see 8 targets in the receiving game, it's going to be Gibbs, I would think.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. And that's definitely my. I think Gibbs would probably be my lock. They're playing the Panthers. They don't strike the fear of God in anyone's hearts, especially when it comes to a running back. And then, I do want to highlight. We have a super chat. It looks like Demon. We'd love to see that. I think so. Justin Ziegler, we appreciate you. Should we do his question first? We'll get back to
Let's do Cliff's here because I highlighted it first. I don't want to lose it, and then we'll get back to you. Thank you so much, Justin Ziegler.
Yeah, shout out to Justin.
Cliff, what's going on, buddy? Pick 3 PPR: Brian Robinson, Alvin Kamara, Kieran Williams, or Travis Etienne.
Kick me off, Demon. Kick me off.
Kick you off? Oh,
I mean, answer.
I was like, get out of here.
Yeah. Send me home. Home.
So we're benching one of these guys. Oh man, this is rough. I'm probably benching Kamara because I love the Brian Robinson matchup this week. So, but I mean, I don't think you can go wrong. I mean, there isn't one guy that I'm looking at that I'm saying is an absolute bench here. So I love Travis Etienne this week. Williams has been playing well. Robinson's got that matchup. For me, it's that's the offense that I trust the least right now. So
Yeah, I like where your head's at. Robinson's a smash play. Don't bench him for anyone, pretty much. He should have 15 to 25 fantasy points tonight if all goes how it should. Kamara's got the volume. Kyron's got the role.
yeah,
That workhorse role in Sean McVay's offense is always, always, always so fantasy valuable. And then ETN, I'm a little hesitant on ETN given the matchup. I don't know. I don't necessarily see him having a big game against the Bills. They're pretty darn good on defense across the board. If there was a weakness, it would be against the run. But really, outside of Devon Achan's 2 touchdowns last week, they were pretty. I mean, he had 8 carries for like over
yeah,
100 yards. So
it's been
let me
insane, man.
eat that one. Yeah, Achan's just breaking football.
Yeah,
I think I agree with you actually, Demon. I think I'd bench Kamara.
yeah.
Just because ETN probably is the Jaguar who you'd want to start this week.
Yeah, and again, if you feel Cliff, if you feel strong about starting Kamara, I don't think it's going to be. I don't think he's going to have a terrible game.
We're not going to yell at you.
Yeah.
You.
Justin Ziegler, thank you for the super chat. Love your work. Keep it up. I appreciate that. And so does Kevin over there. Fields or Goff this week? Kev, I'm going to throw it to you.
No, I appreciate it, man, because we already talked about Fields. I want to like Fields more. I'm so frustrated by the way that he's looked and by the way that the Bears have called the offense this year. Yes, we had our resurgence last week. We had our bounce back game last week that we've been waiting for, but that's Denver, Demon. I think you and I could probably throw for 303 against Denver.
Yeah, 350 at minimum.
So I think Goff is going to be the answer for me here. Again, they're playing the Panthers. They're hapless.
It's Goff for me, exactly. But I'm not going to just echo what Kevin said, so we can move on here. But there's an interesting question here. I don't really answer defensive questions, but if you, just because we're at a time constraint here, if you could pick up Washington's D, if it's there, I would give it a roll if you need a defense tonight. So
hell yeah. Washington's D is a guaranteed start this week. I like the Ravens against the Steelers. I like the Lions against the Panthers. I like the Dolphins against the Giants. Those are probably my favorite plays this week.
Yeah. Dolphins against the Giants. Jets against Denver.
Against the Broncos. Yep. Yeah. Broncos against the Jets. I don't know.
I don't think so. Just because what I saw last week and because of the whole Sean Payton thing with Nathaniel Hackett, I think the Jets offense is going to come out with their guns blazing. That's coming from a Jet fan, though.
Can I tell you a secret, Demon? And you can't tell anybody, especially not any of your listeners or anybody on the Demonverse. Nobody can know this but you.
Cover your ears, people.
This is just for you and me. I'm in a 14-team double flex league, not super flex, and I have Geno Smith. He's on bye. I picked up and I'm throwing in Zach Wilson.
It's not a bad choice. I mean, look,
I think it's a good stream this week.
I'm going to tell you one
so dirty.
Thing. I'm going to tell you one thing about Zach Wilson. I'm trying to take my Jets cap off with this. I've been as critical of him as anyone has.
Rightfully so.
What I saw from him last week didn't look like it was a fluky performance. It looked like someone who might start getting it, might actually
turn a corner.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And when we see guys turn a corner and they have this type of talent, that might be a recipe for something good. So,
dude, and I'm whispering because this is just for you and me, but I've been saying that about Zach Wilson ever since Rodgers went down. If there's ever going to be a time, it's going to be right now. And, people keep saying, but, we've seen enough. It's like, bro, no, we haven't. It's third year. We've seen people in their fourth year, fifth year. Look at Geno. You know what I mean? It takes time, it's not, it doesn't happen overnight. So hey, it would be the Brock Purdy story of the year if Zach Wilson could right the ship.
It takes time, and sometimes human beings have this capacity to learn and just get something.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I love it.
So we have Trey Ratliff here. Trade Gibbs for who? Now I typically like a little more context with something like this. Who do you have in mind? But Kevin, if there's somebody out there that you think you could get for Gibbs, like what type of player do you think he could be looking at? Let's just say a standard, maybe PPR league, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I appreciate the question because you should always be trading. That's one thing. Fantasy Q&A show. Demon and I were wearing our fantasy caps. Be a trader. That's how, not like a trader like against your country, but like be a trade, actively be making trades. This is how you make your team better. This is how you win your leagues. Nobody wins the league at the draft, and nobody wins the league just with waiver wire pickups. You got to be proactive in making trades. So shout out to you, Trey, for knowing that it's time for a trade. Demon, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say you might be able to go out there and shoot high for like an underperforming running back. You might be able to go out there and get like a Quads or a Taylor, maybe an Aaron Jones, a Ramondre. I'll be honest with you though, Demon, I will be trading for Gibbs. Personally, I'm a big believer that Gibbs is going to break out. He's going to have his breakout game maybe this week against Carolina. And how do you take him off the field if he goes out there and has 8 receptions for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's the thing with some of these young running backs when they come into the league. We tend to have an itchy trigger finger. We don't see, we have these high expectations and expect them to do something right out of the gate. And if they don't, we want to move on from them. But Gibbs is the perfect stash right now. If you have guys that you can start over him right now and you have him just sitting on your bench, I mean, he can be a guy that's seeing 6, 7, 8 targets down the line, down the stretch. And if the Lions are in the thick of things, which they should be, and they're looking for positioning in the rankings, they're going to be in some battles down the road. So Gibbs is the perfect stash for me right now.
I think so too. I would say, just for the sake of it, if you had a name, just throw it out there. But I agree. I would say hold personally.
Yeah,
but
I would say hold. I was trying to think of somebody offhand. If it's so tough, man. Maybe Kamara, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But
know.
I might want Kamara plus though, if I could.
Right.
I don't know if the Kamara owner would do it, but that's probably what I would go. I would probably go for that. I like that. I like Kamara. I think he's a good buy.
Yeah. Is it Kamara or Kamara? I always say
I say both. I rotate.
Jerry M, I'm trying to get rid of Ramondre and Mostert. Who should I target? Okay. So if you're trying to get rid of Ramondre and Mostert, go for A-Chain.
Yeah, honestly, try to go out there and get Devon Achane. He's going to have an unbelievable rest of season. He's a smash buy. And it's weird because they say don't buy players at their ceiling, but it's like, have we seen Achane's ceiling? It's 2 games.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like this is if you want Achane, this is your last chance. If you package Ramondre and Mostert, I don't know if the Achane owner would say no. Honestly.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Because Mostert's been pretty good, and they're getting 2 startable running backs for the price of one who is not the main guy there right now. So
yeah, Ramondre and Mostert. Yeah, I like Ramondre. Also, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of names here that are coming up in the chat. I think a lot of it has to do with early season frustration and waiting for that breakout that doesn't feel like it's coming. But hold fast, my friends. The fantasy football is about knowing when to hold them and knowing when to fold them. And I think Ramondre is worth the hold.
And I spy a Brian McFadden in the chat, smiling. Look at him.
What's up, move
me into my proper spot.
Yeah,
here.
There you go.
Nope. Demon's got to be in the middle.
I'm in the middle. There we go.
I'm the MC, said. I'm the captain now.
All right. I couldn't miss it. I come when I can. Sometimes I get a little caught up, but I am here to answer some fantasy questions. How's the chat popping so far?
Beautiful. That's great. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Do we got Anthony behind the scenes? Is he managing? Are we managing? What are we doing?
Right now, we're managing right now, as far as we know.
Yeah. So, Brian, I don't know if you wanted to weigh in on this. He's talking about Ramondre and Mostert. Who should he target? We were saying A-Chain might be a good target. You being a Dolphins fan, do you think that's a feasible target to go after with these 2 guys?
I'm not sure I would get rid of Ramondre just yet. He's getting a lot of usage. And, I mean, they've had some tough matchups. The Patriots have, so you have to keep. I mean, they're going up against the Jets defense, the Cowboys defense. Volume is king. Like I got into this discussion. I was somebody was trying to trade me Kyron Williams. I kept saying no because he's not efficient. But I'll be damned if they're not giving him like 25 touches a game. Right. And here's the thing: is we know Ramondre's talented. We know he's done it before. He's finished his RB7 in fantasy last year. So I mean, if you can get a great value, fine. But I'm not sure I'd be looking to get rid of Ramondre. Most, on the other hand, I think Achane already took 60% of the snap share last week. I think we're going to see more of that.
All right. Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you for the question, Jerry. We got the Heisen, Najee or Miles Sanders this week. Brian, we'll go to you first.
Well, I was just listening to some stats actually specifically around the Panthers. Their offensive line has the worst run block win rate of all the offensive lines in the NFL right now. I mean, we've seen that the whole offense has kind of been stuck in the mud. I'm not crazy about the Steelers offense either, but Najee has sneakily been kind of efficient. He's been more efficient than he was last year. I think he's getting a little more return to form. And Sanders is still a little bit banged up. He actually got outsnapped by Chuba Hubbard last week. So I'm going Najee on this one.
Yeah,
Kev,
and
what about you?
I love that Miles comes up the minute Brian gets on the show because we were actually arguing about Miles Sanders in the Legit Football Slack channel because I'm a fan of his. I think he's got a great game, and I think he's been getting he's not getting the role that he was sort of promised, the sort of, oh, he's going to be a pass catching guy. He's going to get the this, that, and the third. It kind of feels like the Panthers haven't really put their money where their mouth is when it comes to Miles utilization, which is really quite a bummer for me who believes in his talent so much. So, it's Detroit, and they did have a strong showing last week against Green Bay, especially on the ground. So that kind of hurts my Miles stock for the week. But I mean, Najee's playing the Ravens, and yes, they're banged up, but they're still the Ravens. They've had a good defense since I was 9 years old. I swear to God, it hasn't ever not been great. So
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna stick to my guns and go with Miles here, but I don't love either. Honestly.
I think that's a mistake. I know that everybody is on the Jalen Warren train.
Yeah.
Some people are getting on the
Choo-choo.
Chuba Hubbard train.
I
They
know.
are,
What
yes.
the hell?
But if you look at their advanced metrics, Najee actually is performing much better, even though both offenses suck right now. I'm still going to go with Najee over Miles coming up this week. Oh, by the way, the Lions are also one of the best run defenses in the NFL through 4 weeks, and that's who the Panthers are going up against.
Shockingly. Yeah.
I'm going Najee here. I'm breaking the tie. I'm giving it to Brian. I'm sorry, Kev. I like you and everything.
It's personal. I know.
I am not big on Miles Sanders. Brian, do you want? I'm just taking over here. Do you want to take care of the chat?
I'll do it.
Want to do?
I'll run it. I'll run it.
Yeah,
I want the demon and the trail to
Let's
thrive
go.
here. So let's see. Do we got stuff starred here? I will do my best to run this thing.
We got some super chats, man. We got 2 in the last couple minutes.
I see 3. Let's go with the super chats. Yeah. So
we got to the first one already.
Okay, so Justin Ziegler we already got to, right?
His first one. He has 2 in there because he's the GOAT. We love you, Justin.
Okay, so let's go ahead and bring up Hype Shooter. Does Scary Terry do good for me today? I love this. Is straightforward. Like, is Terry McLaurin gonna eat Demon?
Given the matchup, I say it's very possible because the Bears are abysmal. So this is a Scary Terry. Any other matchup, I would kind of be a little hesitant. I would want to, talk about it a little bit, but I think you have such a high ceiling play here. I think it's worth the go.
Yeah, and in general, Terry's just been kind of a weird, he had a slow start to the season. I think the vibes.
There was an injury.
Yeah,
keep that in mind. He had that turf toe thing that slowed him down the first couple weeks.
Yeah, he was, very inefficient week 1. Had kind of a quiet game against Buffalo, but a lot of people do. But in his 2 smash matchups, 17 points against Denver and 23 against Philly. So Chicago in what profiles to be a smash matchup. I like Terry McLaurin a lot. I do think it's going to be more of a ground and pound game plan. So, I think McLaurin's a solid, wide receiver too. I'm not I'm not breaking my finger pressing start, but I'm not mad at all at the Terry love. I think he'll get you, somewhere between 13 and 17 fantasy points. And I'd be happy with that.
Yeah. I love the matchup here. I think the Bears defense, but there's a stat going around that, they're the first team in NFL history to let up 25 or more points in 17 straight games or something absurd. You are going to put up points against the Chicago Bears defense. And I love how the Commanders looked against the Eagles defense last week. And this is going to be an easier test. So if Terry can put up those numbers against Philly, I'm confident that Scary Terry is going to put out for you tonight on Thursday Night Football. Yeah.
It's weird though, because Chicago's still 14th against wide receivers. They're not hemorrhaging points to wide receivers. It must be due to how bad their ground defense is, I'm guessing, but
they're one of those defenses where, a receiver won't put anything up for 3 quarters, and then in the 4th quarter, he can put up a 25-point game. So
yeah. Or vice versa. All the receivers are sitting down because they're running it because they're up by 3 touchdowns, right? It's Chicago sucks.
That they do. All right, let's go on to the next super chat. I will say this more than any week we've done this so far, the super chat is going to be especially important since we don't have Anthony queuing these up. This is going to be my job. If you really want to get your question answered tonight, make sure to do the super chat. Make sure you're on the Pro Football Demon YouTube channel to do that. So Justin Ziegler, you mentioned he had one earlier. His second one, he's smart. He's doing the super chat.
I like this guy.
Bench one, Kyron. So here's one we're picking to bench. So it's not a start one. It's bench one. Kyron Williams, Travis Etienne, James Cook, Jahmyr Gibbs. Also, I have Christian Watson as wide receiver 2 and saw he was limited today is Jaden Reed a good backup plan? So, Kev, we'll start with the running back question.
Yeah, man, for sure. And I think Kyren Williams, you already kind of mentioned it, Brian, the volume is just too much to run away from right now. And the workhorse in McVay's offense is such a valuable role. Got to stick with Kyren Williams. Brian, we also talked before you got on the show about our belief that Jahmyr Gibbs' brighter days were ahead. And I think this week might be the start of that.
Panthers defense just made Alexander Madison look good. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. And you know, it should be a boat race. So maybe they'll try to give Gibbs some opportunities, or maybe he's part of how they get out, you know, to a lead. And then Etienne or Cook in the same matchup. You know, I'm inclined to just play the matchup there and play the who's had a better start to the season. I think James Cook is the play there, and I would probably bench Travis Etienne, but I don't absolutely despise him as a play this week. I think he's kind of like if you have him, it's very likely that you need to start him. So you have the luxury, Justin, of you know, being able to bench Etienne. I think you should this week.
I disagree about the ETN thing. Williams, I think you have to start. I think you have to start Cook, and only because I do. While we just discussed Gibbs and said down the stretch he could be an option, he's just not seeing it yet. And I want to see it first before I feel comfortable.
I respect that.
So
I do respect that.
I would go with ETN there. And then as far as the second question goes, yes, absolutely. I love Jaden Reed. I know Brian loves Reed. So yeah, that is a good backup plan. But
he's been productive as well. Yeah, I don't mind that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I wouldn't kill you for starting Gibbs here, but I go with a more proven product at this point. Travis Etienne going into his second full year versus Gibbs, who's still a rookie and is very much taking more of the receiving game work, whereas Montgomery's coming off 130 rushing yard game last week. So Kyron's a slam dunk, Cook's a slam dunk. I would also lean towards Etienne. As for Reed is a little, because there's a lot of mouths to feed, so Reed is a little bit down on the pecking order, but he's super talented. So he's the kind of guy you might get you 2 points and he might get you 14 if he scores, which he's done multiple times this season, but he's not going to be a high volume play. So if Reed is a fine backup plan, but I would probably try to look for someone else if you can. Feel free to do another super chat, Justin, if you let us know who else is on your bench. We can kind of make a recommendation in case Watson doesn't go. I think this is more load management, just FYI. He had him on a snap count last week. There haven't been any setbacks with his hamstring. So I think Watson's going to have a much bigger role this week. And I think the limited practice is more just like making sure that his hamstring's ready to go. So unless I see anything major, honestly, I would probably start Watson. But if you want to know a good backup plan, give us your other options and we'll kind of pick from there.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Hype Shooter paid another one just to say thanks.
Hey, you're the GOAT, Hype Shooter.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, a lot of love in the chat right now. We appreciate you all.
Awesome.
Real.
So here's the thing. So that is the end of the super chats for now. Why don't you guys let me know where you ended on the regular chat? And so I can kind of
there.
Oh, there you go.
Demons. He's
all right.
ready,
So I'm going
man.
to read, and while you guys are answering, I'm going to find where that is and figure out where to go from there.
Perfect.
SHR 123. I traded Puka and Brian Robinson for Chris Olave. Didn't work out last week. My team now: Justin Fields, James Conner, Isaiah Pacheco, Devon Achane, Ramondre Stevenson, Jerome Ford. That's a pretty good lineup. Yeah. Cooper Kupp, DK Metcalf. This is a really good lineup. Is this like an eight team league?
16.
Yeah. DK, Olave, Watson, Judy, Michael Thomas, Jamison Williams. Big bench, big roster. Kelsey, Cowboys D. Thoughts?
I think you have a good team. Even I'm not crazy about the trade, but I still think you've got a strong roster.
Yeah, I agree. I would say, if anything, that top end running back talent could afford to come up. I might try to package. You got some crazy talent at wide receiver. I might try to package a 2-for-1. Maybe go for like a Saquon. Go for like you might not be able to get a McCaffrey, but I mean, you might be able to get a McCaffrey. I mean, throw like DK and Olave at the McCaffrey owner, just something like that. Throw a 2-for-1 special and go try to get top end talent at the running back position. That would be my advice. Let
me say one thing. I do think that because he has this running back talent, I mean, this is a perfect 0 RB build. And I mean, he's got Kelsey, he's got the Cowboys D where he's going to have an advantage most weeks. So, Connor goes down. I mean, he can plug in one of these other guys and not miss a beat at running back. So I don't think he needs to upgrade at running back, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Pacheco is just kind of like, I like Pacheco, but I traded him in Dynasty recently because I just feel like he might be a ticking time bomb. from a utilization standpoint.
Yeah, but he doesn't have to start him. He can start. He's got a lot of options here.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess we are projecting a little spike for Ramondre. So yeah, I mean, it's a great team regardless. Shout out to you, bro. You killed it. You killed your draft.
I am queuing up some stars for the chat here. One thing I'll notice on this is SG. I'd like to know what kind of league it is. Is it PPR? How many teams are in there? Is it Superflex? Like that roster looks stacked, but I don't know what the rest of the league looks like. So all right. You guys, quick game preview for TNF. Take 2 minutes while I finish queuing up these.
Oh, sure. Well, we talked a little bit about it already, but Demon, you got to be thinking Brian Robinson's the start of the night, right? Like he's got to be the crown jewel of the matchup, right?
Absolutely. Brian Robinson is a must start, I think. I'm so interested to see what Justin Fields does tonight, though. I'm seeing a lot of Justin Fields questions out there. I don't quite trust him right now yet, but I wouldn't hate starting him over, maybe Jordan Love or something. I mean, just because he could have the higher floor. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm not in on DJ Moore.
Yeah, he's just kind of consistently, right? Like, how do you get in on him, right?
Yeah. Khalil Herbert is interesting, though. I mean, he saw all the volume last week. So he's an interesting play if you're struggling at running back a little bit, and maybe he's on your waiver wire. Who knows? But depending on how deep your league is, what do you think, Kev?
Yeah, no, I actually think DJ Moore is a fine hold or even a trade away. He's just the kind of person who I'd want to see a consistent stretch before I would ever invest real serious fantasy assets in or ever, trot it out of my lineup weekly. I just the battlefield of fantasy football is just riddled with corpses of people who trusted DJ Moore.
Yeah.
And it's so sad. It's been a sad couple of years. Like we all know the talent. I mean, right?
Yeah.
He's one of those players.
That's been the story, right? He's been held back by bad quarterback play. And then we thought we were going to see that, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs type of resurgence with him and Fields, and it just didn't pan out that way.
Not quite, right? McFadden's ready to go. We're back.
I'm ready to go. So I didn't listen to anything you guys were saying. I'm assuming you picked the Commanders to stomp the Bears, right?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I think that's
we went more of a fantasy angle, but I mean, it's a kind of a no-brainer.
So I want to start with a very important question. Why are you so pale, guy on the left? It's called Irish blood. I can't help it. I've tried.
His name Brian.
I appreciate this guy.
I'm
Red
fine
is
with
funny.
guy on the left. I will answer to the guy on the left, but I've been pale my whole life, 42 years. So it's called.
We got to find Brian a nice filter.
It's
tan
filter.
Yeah,
my ring light has a little tint to
that's
it.
too Demon. You figured that side out for me. Justin Ziegler paying the big bucks.
Dude, we
love
Justin Ziegler, man.
And I've queued up a lot of your questions, guys. And if they're repeats, too bad. I'm going to ask them anyway. Bench isn't the best. My other option is, so this is,
I think Brian,
to his last question.
Are both you guys there or am I gone?
No, Demon, I still have you. You're just frozen. Brian, do you still have me?
I hear all you guys.
Okay.
All right, we're all back.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys, both of you guys left for a second.
All right.
Demon had a moment.
It was the pale juju. I apologize. My pale juju coming through. Other option is Treylon Burks and Justin Ross, because I thought I would get more involved in KC. Sure. Waivers, Rashee Rice, Curtis Samuel, Michael Wilson.
Michael Wilson, Rashee Rice, and Curtis Samuel in that order, yeah.
So this was with regards to the previous question about Christian Watson and Jaden Reed. I would go with Michael Wilson over Jaden Reed. He is the bona fide number 2, coming off a 2-touchdown game. We actually talked about on the waiver wires this week, Kev. So that would be my pick right there.
It's a great pick.
Yeah, 100%. I agree wholeheartedly.
All right, so I'm going to go back onto these questions. I think you guys might have been going bottom to top. So if we get to some repeat questions, apologies, but I'm just going to tackle these. I start everything that was an actual question. RAFL UFC 4 Ruthless Aggression Fighting League. Yes, I always read the names start to finish. Laporta and Mostert. Monster. I kind of like Monster.
I like Monster. It's good.
Monster for Montgomery and Hunter Henry. Who wins? Demon, we'll start with you on this. Who wins this trade?
For me, it's the Laporta Monstert side. Laporta is probably tight end 2 right now in Dynasty, at least.
I think he's literally tight end 2 and redraft right now.
Redraft too, right? Yeah. So, and again, tight end, if you can have an advantage or just a guy that is going to have a nice floor at tight end. That gives you a nice advantage. And Mostert, man, he gets the ball and he's a monster. So I couldn't think of something else to say.
I like
Nothing
it.
needs it. Monster works.
Not big on Hunter Henry, and Montgomery is very touchdown dependent. I know he had a big game last week, but I'm going with the Laporta Mostert side.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you guys. I'm kind of in the same boat here. I love Sam Laporta. He's just a screaming buy in every format. You know, he's had an unbelievable season, and I don't know that he's really had like that game where it's like, oh, he's tight end one, like, you know, he's in the George Kittle, Travis Kelce tier. It can happen this year, no doubt.
2 weeks ago.
Mostert,
yeah, the one he had the touchdown where like nobody was within 20 yards of him.
Oh, dude, yeah. Mostert is interesting. Brian knows I shipped Mostert away in Dynasty. It was hard to do because he was the RB1 at the time. But he has I have consistently joked on his behalf that he has a vacation home on the IR. And you know, it's tough because
yet. He's been
not this year, knock on wood, right? Jeff's coming back. I don't know. Doesn't really matter because Montgomery to me is a trade away right now. Montgomery is having sort of an insanely productive touchdown, like like Demon said, touchdown dependent start to the season. He's also not the poster child for health, and he's had long stretches of inefficient play in his career. He's been very inconsistent. So although I like Hunter Henry just fine, I think how much I love Laporta and how much safer I feel like Mostert is than Montgomery, they're kind of both a little dicey. I think the Laporta side wins pretty easily to me.
Yeah, completely agree with you guys. That Patriots offense is just a mess right now. Laporta has been better than advertised. He's setting rookie tight end records at this point. Mostert is still going to have a defined role, even if Achane is getting the number one role. So I like that side of it. Elix Loud, all caps, so you know it must be important. Herbert or Gibbs, please help. So this is Khalil Herbert or Jahmyr Gibbs, Demon.
Man, this is a tough one because Herbert had that volume last week. I just don't know that, and Gibbs had 0 volume last week. So I think I would play the hot hand and go Khalil Herbert because of that. I hate that offense, and I love Jahmyr Gibbs' upside, but I don't know that they're going to work him into the offense. That's the only thing. At least Herbert will get some touches. We know that. I think I know where Kev's going with this, though.
Yeah, it's no shocker. I'm not surprised that most of the questions are centered around this guy, though.
Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs he's really polarizing in fantasy football right now. If the Lions are playing football, do not go on fantasy football Twitter because the amount of pitchforks that are going for the lack of Gibbs utilization is blasphemous. And it's like people have never seen a running back get faced into a team before. It's like people don't remember how rookie running backs go. I am going with Jahmyr Gibbs until the wheels fall off. Unfortunately, I believe so much in the talent. I believe so much in the offense. Do you want a piece of the Bears going up against the Commanders, or do you want a piece of the Lions going up against the Panthers? Think about it. You know,
I'm going to add a slightly different wrinkle to this. Elix Loud. What is your team makeup? What is your standing situation? If you can afford, because to me, Gibbs is a ceiling play here. We haven't seen the ceiling yet, sure. But there is a ceiling there. If any of you watched him as a recruit coming out of Alabama and previously at Georgia Tech, Herbert, I think like last week, it was a nice game, but that was his ceiling.
Yeah.
Herbert is going to get more touches as a baseline. They are going up against a tough defense. They would have been the Broncos defense last week. I could score 20 points against the Broncos defense. And Jahmyr Gibbs, as you mentioned, Kev, is going up against the Panthers defense, which has been really bad. They just got run over by Cam Akers on a new team and Alexander Madison. So I kind of, unless you need the floor, if you just need a win and it's steady and you need to have points you can count on, go Herbert. If you can afford to get a little risky, I think Gibbs could be a nice play. And if Herbert craps the bed on Thursday night, you don't have to worry about it for the rest of the week. You at least have some hope going in.
Yeah, 100%.
Justin Ziegler in a
he re-super chatted.
Yeah, he re-super.
Okay, so we can skip that. Thanks, Justin, for your continued support.
It's easy. Yeah.
This isn't a question, but I got to give a shout out to Armand, the GOAT, at every single one of our legit football. So I had to highlight that. Armand, always nice seeing you in the chat. Teresa Hollingsworth, start Romeo Dobbs or Zay Flowers, Kev?
Oh, Teresa, why would you do us like that, man? We're out here sounding all smart and stuff, and then you go and throw us a curveball like that. Okay, So I am one of the biggest Zay Flowers fans, and his hot start to the season just made me feel like it confirmed all my priors. But he's sneakily cooled off. He's sneakily kind of become a lot more of a ancillary weapon and not so much the focal point of the Ravens offense, which I don't know if that's because the other guys are dropping like flies and his role is just, the coverage is shifting to
Mark
him.
Andrews missed a game, came back, got healthy. Suddenly, Mark Andrews is still the focal point of that Ravens offense.
Yeah, I mean, no shockers there. So, as much as it pains me to say, I think I'd go Dobbs because the Packers are playing the Raiders and the Raiders defense is just so bad. So I think that Jordan Love will be able to find his favorite target, Romeo Dobbs. And I think as much as I like Zay Flowers and as much as I don't hate him this week against Pittsburgh, I would go with Dobbs.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with that.
It's hard. It's hard.
It's hard, yeah. But we thought for a moment that Zay was going to be the number one target. Maybe he usurped Mark Andrews as Lamar Jackson's guy, but
I hoped.
It doesn't look like it's panning out that way.
No.
So because of that, I think you have to go Romeo Dobbs. And I also think Baltimore could take a lead, not really have to pass much early in that game. I mean, they're going to be starting Trubisky, right? Pittsburgh.
Actually, no. Pickett practiced in full today.
Did he? Wow.
Suddenly the bone bruise. People thought it was an MCL, then it's a bone bruise. And
it's not like he's been lighting up the world either, though. But
correct. I don't know that there is a big difference right now between Kenny Pickett and this off. And it's not a knock on Pickett. I think it's a knock on Matt Canada personally. A little bit. Here's something for you. 25. That's the number of targets Romeo Dobbs has gotten in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
25 targets. He is I know there's a lot of talented receivers, young receivers in Green Bay. Dobbs is the guy. I don't even think Watson will be the guy. I think Watson will be the big play guy. He'll have big games. Yep. He'll be the exciting, the shiny toy. Dobbs is the guy that Love trusts the most, the one he has the best connection with, and he scores. He's got great hands. Like Dobbs is, I don't know. I'm a big Dobbs guy. I drafted Dobbs in multiple dynasty leagues. He's paying off for me this year, but he's also getting the volume. So to me, this is a no-brainer. I love Zay Flowers' talent. It's not about that, but you guys are right. It's not getting utilized as a number one versus Romeo Dobbs, who's getting 12 and 13 targets the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's tough for me because like when I first started watching Romeo Dobbs play football, I was like, what am I supposed to like about this guy?
That's what I said the same thing.
Particularly fast. He doesn't seem particularly but you know what? He gets open and he catches the ball. And
Jordan Love trusts him.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, right? Is it's the chemistry that they have. And hey, go off, right? If Dobbs is going to be one of those weird NFL success stories, then so be it. I'm ready to jump on the bandwagon.
You know who else was good at getting open and catching the ball? Jerry freaking Rice.
Yeah,
he is. No one would.
I
am not saying Dobbs.
He said that.
But there's these guys. There's these workhorse guys that understand how to get open, that just catch the ball when it's thrown to them. Who are just they know the playbook. Their quarterbacks trust them. They're gonna get a lot of volume. But he's also making insane catches. It's not like he doesn't have the chase. Right, he's not that kind of athletic talent. But all I know is the ball is going his way. He's catching the majority of the balls and he's scoring. Dobbs is a must for me.
I've grown to really appreciate Romeo.
We've seen that Wes Welker, Julian Edelman. We're seeing it with Puka this year.
Yeah.
All right. Also, Rich, you got any shots to take towards Brandon Perna? Your Jets play his Broncos this week. Brandon Perna, a very well-known what is it? It's good. It's all. I can't remember what.
My gripe is not with Brandon Perna for being a Broncos fan. I would never go at him for choosing a bad team because I've been accused of choosing a bad team and backing them. My gripe is with Sean Payton. If he's watching this, I just want him to be fearful of the stare right now.
All Jets fans after win one for Nathaniel Hackett. I never thought I'd say those words, but I hope the Jets take it to him, and not because I have shares of Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, and even Zach Wilson a little here.
It's like kicking a puppy going after Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah. Landon leading him, CJ Stroud or Trevor Lawrence? I love these questions that like in the preseason would have been absurd, and now it's like this is a legitimate question we need to address here, Demon.
I'm going. There aren't many guys. Me and Kev talked about this earlier. There are not many quarterbacks I would start over CJ Stroud at this point. CJ Stroud has been phenomenal. I love what he's doing. He looks like Aaron Rodgers to me when Aaron Rodgers broke out. So, I mean, he is.
Whoa.
I think he is going to be.
It's not just me giving the effusive praise and comparisons. Rodgers, CJ Stroud, love it.
Yeah. So I'm going CJ Stroud all the way.
Yeah, I'm same, but only. I mean, a lot of it has to do with how much I love Stroud, but I also I don't love Jacksonville this week against Buffalo. I think Buffalo's defense has proven time and time again to just be stifling.
Here's a question. This is interesting, and I could be wrong about this, but I think this is the first time that the Jaguars have played in London in back-to-back weeks. This is the first time they have been able to have an entire week to acclimate. And I'm not sure if you guys know this, but I guess this doesn't give them an advantage. They switched hotels. Like the Bills took the hotel they were in week 1, so they had to switch hotels. I don't know if that gives them an edge. I wonder if
Buffalo
this is
Bills.
I wonder. Yeah, really. I wonder if and I picked the Bills just so we're clear. I'm not getting like crazy, but man, I wouldn't be surprised if Jacksonville finds a way to pull this off. It's kind of a quasi home game for them. Trevor Lawrence is still playing well. He's had receiver drops. The play calling is a little questionable, but I wouldn't just chalk this up as like an easy steamroller win for the Bills here.
That's you, Demon. Yeah, I was gonna say no. I was gonna say I wouldn't be shocked either, but I just feel like I don't know, man. There's something weird. International games always get a little fluky.
That's the thing too. Yeah,
first thing in the morning.
I'm not saying anybody should pick the Jags, but it's just one of those. As I'm making my game picks every week, there's some games where I'm like, yep, that's going to happen, and then there's some games like I'm going to pick this team, but if the other team wins, I kind of get it.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's weird how they just handedly defeated the alleged best team in the NFL. Brian, we thought you came late to avoid the shots from that, by the way, just so you know. There was speculation.
I told you, I'm glad the Dolphins got their
You did say that.
Trounce. You mean trounce. Yeah, that's the word you're looking for.
Passes handed to them is pretty good, too.
It's similar. Rich. It's similar.
They need, I'd rather
clean,
I'd rather them be focused that they're not going to beat every team by, 50 points. They're not going to score 70 points. I need them grounded. And if they lose to Buffalo in Buffalo, which prior to the start of the season, I would have easily predicted anyway.
Tough game,
I'm fine with that. We're still 3-1. Yeah. We got the freaking Giants coming to Miami.
Yeah. That's going to be a fun one.
We're gonna get right this week.
So I do think that Jacksonville does have a puncher's chance, though, given the sort of weird equalizers that we're seeing. I wouldn't bet on it, but I agree with you, Brian, that it wouldn't be crazy.
To finish up this question, go ahead, Rich.
No, I just want to say that I don't know if you saw them. There are a few more super chats in there.
Oh, I know. I'm getting.
Okay. I didn't know if you saw them.
Oh, they're gonna. Anybody who pays money to the Pro Football Demon is gonna get their question answered for sure. So the last thing on CJ Stroud, I think I'd lead Stroud too. One of my upsets of the week, although doesn't sound like an upset, but the Falcons are favored by 2 at home against the Texans. I did pick Houston to win that game, so I think Stroud is going to continue. The Falcons actually have one of the better run defenses in the NFL, so I think that funnels even more pass usage. So Dameon Pierce is not a great play this week, but who is a great play is CJ Stroud, as well as some of those wide receivers. So I'm going to go with CJ Stroud. Let's get the super chat up since Rich made sure to point that out. We've got Ziegler again.
Love this guy.
2 out of 2. So I got to find 1 out of 2.
No, I think that was a follow-up to an earlier question that he had.
That was a follow-up to who he has on his.
Which we appreciate you regardless, Ziegler, for jumping in and super chatting.
All right, Ziegler again. I just got offered a trade. I give up Justin Jefferson and get Justin Fields, Chris Olave, Zay Flowers. I'm thinking no because of Jefferson's floor.
I am not trading Justin Jefferson unless it is some ridiculous deal that is not going to get offered to me.
It's got to be King Midas the Silver
I can't
bust.
do it.
That's a crazy offer.
I mean, the only way I would consider it is: are you 0-4? Are you 1-3? Is your quarterback Joe Burrow? Is your wide receiver? I don't know. Name wide receiver who might have gotten injured. Like if you have those kind of needs, like Olave started off as almost like a top 10 wide receiver. He has that talent. Carr is banged up. I think he'll get back to that. So it's all about your team needs, Justin. If your team is in a position where you desperately need an upgrade at quarterback, and you get 2 solid wide receivers, maybe. But if not, like if your team has a winning record, no. Keep Justin Jefferson. Keep the good times rolling. All right. There was another super chat in here. New one, Midnight Rose. Running back wide receiver slot. So flex, but without the tight end. Christian Watson, Michael Thomas, Jahmyr Gibbs, or Cam Akers. Demon, we'll start with you on this one.
I think this is Michael Thomas for me.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think it's Michael Thomas for me. I mean, I think he is guaranteed the volume because Arizona is going to be playing from behind.
Saints playing the Patriots, FYI.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this is Michael Thomas for me. If I'm going secondary, it would be Watson, but I think I'm going Michael Thomas.
Damn, my man said Gibbs was third, bro. That's crazy.
We have to see him do it, dude.
I know. And trust me, I'm the one who's been banging that drum all season on this show, but I don't know, man. There's just some sort of a weird faith I have in Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't know what it is, but you can ask Brian. We did a mock draft like 2 months before the draft, and I had Gibbs going in the first round, and he like laughed at me. He was like, I can't see that. Like, no way there's going to be 2 running backs. And now I don't know. I just have this, and I love pass catching running backs. I have such an infatuation with, especially on good teams.
Me too, but they have to be used.
I know. You're right. You're like, hey man,
I don't trust the Saints offense right now. Carr is not right, and I don't think they're going to put Winston in, and I'm not even sure he's an upgrade. Even
wait, I said Michael Thomas. I thought it was Michael
Wilson.
on Arizona. Michael Wilson.
Oh,
That's
wow.
Okay. I was
so
going to
that
say,
is Watson.
Michael Thomas.
He's making a whole pitch.
Sorry, Midnight Rose.
Okay.
Wow.
Demon, you get a reset.
I got to reset. Yeah, it's Watson for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am so sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go Gibbs on this. Watson, we haven't seen it either. Not the talent, but we don't know how much more volume is he going to get? How many more snaps is he going to get coming off that hamstring? We mentioned earlier in the chat that he was limited at practice. And it's, if Gibbs doesn't do it this week against this really bad Panthers run D, I'm not sure he's going to. So roll the dice on him.
Who do you think is the most likely? I'm sorry, out of that tier, who do you think is the most likely to score a touchdown?
Watson.
I'm going to say. Yeah,
maybe Michael Thomas, right?
It's Watson. Watson came back. He already had a touchdown
against the Patriots.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I think it's Watson. I think it's Watson.
Probably Watson,
yeah.
but I don't think it's grossly because if he was 100% healthy, this would be a slam dunk Watson. Yeah. So Watson.
I hope he comes back good, man. He's fun.
With regards to Justin's question about trading Justin Jefferson, he is 3-1, and his QBs are Goff and Herbert. No, why on earth would you keep Jefferson?
We love Goff here on the show, especially this week. And Herbert. Jeez, man. Ziegler, you're winning a chip. Congratulations.
Josh Brunner, trade Puka for Mostert and Algier. Nope. Not 0.
Even.
We're all shaking our heads. Nope. No analysis needed. Puka is here to stay. If the question is because Kupp is coming back, Puka, imagine Puka as an upgraded younger version of Robert Woods in this Rams offense from a couple seasons ago. He is not running the Cooper Kupp routes. Not really. Maybe some of them because they don't have Kupp, but they have different parts and different roles to play in this offense. Puka is still going to eat. I think this Rams offense is just going to upgrade. I don't think you should trade Puka for anybody unless it's like wide receiver 1 type deal. So
I agree.
I haven't been high on Puka, but I mean, I can't argue with it.
You can't ignore Puka at this point. None of us can.
Puka mania.
Aiden Kaheli. Is it time to trade away DJ Moore?
What could you get for him though?
He's got 2 weeks in a row of solid production, and I'm going to bring up his stats, but go ahead with your analysis here.
Go ahead, Kev.
Oh, I was going to say, the best moment to make a move that you need to make is the next moment. If you don't think DJ Moore is going to be a part of your long-term plans, if you don't want to be holding the bag when the DJ Moore bomb goes off, that it goes off every year, Demon and I talked about it earlier, do it. Be the guy who gets out ahead of it and salvages the value, whatever it is. It might not be something special, but if you can get, say, maybe you can swindle the Puka manager. Maybe you give DJ Moore plus and go get Puka. Maybe you can trade DJ Moore for a fading like Ramondre or like Aaron Jones. Try to drum up the DJ Moore hype when you're selling, but I would say don't hold the bag. That's my advice.
And that's what I love about this show is like I was, I listen to Kevin talk and then my wheels start turning based on what he's saying and it makes sense. And you don't want to be you don't want to be left holding the bag. So even if there's a guy out there that people aren't valuing as much as DJ Moore, like maybe Jahmyr Gibbs, people are saying he's not doing anything and they're willing to give you Gibbs for more. I mean, I think over time he might be more valuable. I mean, he has the league winning potential between the two. So I agree. I
completely agree.
Yeah.
So once again, anybody can be traded away for the right pieces, but let me let you know what DJ Moore's done ever since that first game, which was like 2 targets. That was abysmal. 7 targets, 6 targets, 9 targets. He has 276 receiving yards over the last 3 games. So he's almost averaging 100 yards. His last game, 8 receptions on 9 targets for 131 yards and a touchdown. He has touchdown in 2 consecutive games. This Bears offense might be a mess, but they are finally getting DJ Moore involved. So if you are going to trade him, Aiden, make sure you're getting proper value, because I think even if this Bears offense is a mess, they're going to keep feeding DJ Moore. If anything, it's more reliable because they're going to be playing from behind because their defense is so bad.
Yeah. Good call.
All right. This is just for those who didn't see the news.
Right. Yeah.
One of the
moment of silence. Rest in peace.
I'm going to do that
Nick
too, because I don't want to be
Butkus.
left out.
Yeah, you kind of
One
conform.
of the all-time greats. News just came out that he did pass. I believe he was 80. So nice long life, legend in the NFL. Just wanted to highlight that comment. Let's keep the show rolling. Chris Butter, would you trade off your team, Bijan Robinson, Evan Ingram, and Zay Flowers for Brian Robinson Jr., Jamar Chase, and Luke Musgrave?
No.
Demon, we'll start with you on this. So we got Bijan, Ingram, and Flowers for Brian Robinson, Jamar Chase, and Musgrave.
As much as I love Musgrave, I don't think he's much of an upgrade over Evan Ingram, if an upgrade at all. Jamar Chase, my issue is if they keep losing games, do they just shut down Joe Burrow at some point? And then, he's still Jamar Chase, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I mean, he'll still get his, but is it going to be the Jamar Chase that we know? Are we going to see the 11 catch games? So, I'm not giving up a guy like Bijan for a situation like that. And Brian Robinson in this offense, I mean, he'll have his weeks, but he's also going to have his weeks where he's not going to do anything. Zay Flowers is a talent. He's going to have the same type of potential in terms of spike weeks. So I'm going with the Bijan. I'm sticking with the Bijan Ingram Flowers side.
I couldn't agree more. And he nailed the analysis as well. Exactly. Bijan's just too valuable. I don't want to give him up for anything.
Well, that and Chase is getting peppered with targets, but they're not down the field. He's got a very good floor right now. He had like 11, 12 targets last game, but he doesn't have much of a ceiling because this Bengals offense is so condensed, probably because of Burrow's cap, but whatever the reason is, it's the reality. So think of it this way. You're downgrading at running back quite a bit because Bijan is phenomenal. The other Robinson, Brian has been good, but not on Bijan's level. The amount of usage he's getting in the pass game, run game, and he just looks the part. Ingram is the advantage here, is over Musgrave. So now you'd be downgrading at tight end and running back just to go from Zay Flowers to Chase. I'm going to stick with keep Bijan, Evan.
The more I thought about it, the less egregious it sounded. Like it definitely isn't as bad as I thought.
You got to break it down position by like, who am I upgrading? Where am I downgrading? Yeah. You're getting basically you're making this move for Chase. And if this is a normal Bengals year, I might consider
100%.
that.
Yeah, definitely.
You're just not getting the upside.
Yeah.
Chris Behasa, Stroud or Fields at quarterback? And gotta love the people who sneak in the second question. Who should I flex between Waddle or JT? By the way, I have a few JT questions coming up. I saw a lot of people wanting to know. He practiced this week. It's looking like he's going to play this week. Do they play him?
I am going.
I didn't finish reading the comment. But he's got running backs are that was on me. Running backs are Bijan, Monty, and wide receivers are Olave, Cup. So he's got Cup and JT coming back. So he's probably feeling pretty good to start the year.
Yeah.
This is what I sweated a 1-3 record for. Yeah, completely understand.
Do we answer now?
Yeah. Now you may answer. Demon is eager, so I'm going to let you start it off, Rich.
Hell yeah.
All right. I'm going Stroud over Fields. I said that earlier. And I'm going to do this quick. If JT is playing, there aren't many guys I'm starting over JT, even though Waddle against the Giants is interesting. It's very interesting.
I have a feeling this is a Waddle week, by the way.
It could be. Yeah, it could
be.
Fine.
He's getting another week removed from that concussion. He had the rib thing to start the season. I think this is the healthiest he's been. And I think the Dolphins are going to put up points against the Giants.
Yeah, they are. The one thing I'm concerned about, though, is it A-Chain again? Is A-Chain going to get like 3 touchdowns off the bat and now they don't have to pass much? That's the only thing I'm thinking about. I think JT, floor-wise, is probably a safer bet. I think he's going to get
I will say this, Rich. I think I don't have the numbers in front of me, but earlier today I saw Waddle is like 6th or 7th in the league in yards after catch right now. Now, he hasn't had a ton of usage, but when he gets the ball, he's been making plays. All it takes is him to break one of those. And even if he doesn't have like a 7 or 8 catch game, he can finish with 80 yards with 4 catches and a touchdown. So I just
and JT
feel like
can finish with 80 yards and 3 touchdowns.
It's true.
It's true.
It's really difficult. I'll come in. I think I might be the tiebreaker here between you two, and it's really difficult because I was actually going to lean on you guys to tell me what to do with Jonathan Taylor because I do have a Jonathan Taylor share in one league.
So do I.
And
I
I'm
just
so
traded for him in
excited.
Dynasty, and I don't even
stoked.
know if I'm starting.
It's weird, right? It's dicey. I have Zach Moss on the same team. I'm not cutting Moss, right? I'm waiting until we see the reins get passed. But
that's the thing, Kev. I think we need to wait 1 week. We need to see not only how JT looks, how are they going to distribute this? Moss has looked really good. This isn't a guy like they've been clunking along at running back and they're desperate to get JT. Look, JT's the more talented. He's one of the most talented running backs in the NFL. Yeah. But I kind of want to see it. If I had Waddle or JT, I think I would go with Waddle this week and be okay. Like if JT goes off, great. Now I got JT. I can just plug into my lineup for the rest of the week. I don't want to take the risk that they bring him along slowly and have Moss get the majority of the snaps.
That is interesting. And I'm going to put my conspiracy theorist cap on here. Do they get a message from upper management, from the owner? Does crazy Jim Irsay say, just keep feeding Moss because I want JT to see that we can put anybody in that spot and he'll get production. We don't need to pay him.
That's absolutely, it's crazy, but it's not that crazy. It's actually something to consider. And this answers another question, and that is, does Rich ever wear hats? He wears conspiracy theory hats. He just said it for you. There you go, Red. I had this queued up, and I had to find it because I'm like, this is just too good.
Also, his characters wear hats. Don't forget, his characters wear hats.
That's true.
I've been known to wear a hat or two from time.
All right, we got about 20 minutes until game, and we're going to finish this up in about 10 minutes. So let's get through as many of these questions as we can. Sure. CJ, Kevin, would you start Stafford or Fields this week?
I think that's going to have to be a Stafford answer. Fields is fine. Like he's got a fine floor. But Stafford's playing the Eagles, and they've been so sneakily bad against quarterbacks in fantasy, which is so awesome because, they're still winning games, right? They're 4-0, so things probably won't change. I think the Eagles are going to be a sneaky team.
Keep it succinct. Keep it snappy. Let's try to get to these questions.
Stafford.
I think I might go Fields. I think Fields has the higher floor. Stafford looked terrible against a nice defense in Cincinnati. I think he's going to do the same thing against the Eagles, so I'm going Fields.
Yeah. With the rushing floor, I'm probably also going Fields, but it's not a big difference. I kind of like Stafford with Kupp and Puka could just be like, and the Eagles are going to be ahead. I don't know. We could see a good Stafford week, so I wouldn't hate, but I'm going to lean on the Field side as well. Douglas Tibbles, Waller or Kmet, Rich?
Waller.
Oh, no. Don't touch this Giants offense right now. I don't want anybody, not even Saquon, because he's not at full strength.
He's a stud, though,
man. Neither.
Yeah, go sign Gerald.
Kmet just had like a 27-point game.
Against the Broncos, they're terrible against tight ends, though,
We'll see how Kmet does tonight, but it's Kmet. As gross as that is.
Yeah, I agree. It's gross, but you got to go Kmet because I just don't want any piece of that Giants offense.
Yeah.
Justin Spiewak, Ramondre or David Montgomery. I also have CMC, so this would be the RB2 spot.
Rest of season, I would take Ramondre. Montgomery, I feel like is going to fade down the stretch, but they're both fine.
Juicy Panthers matchup this week. Ramondre going up against a pretty good Saints defense. Rich, are you in agreement? I'm
in agreement with that.
Okay. Yeah. All right. User Mehre, I'm sure I butchered that. I tried. Kyron Williams or Brian Robinson, all caps. Rich.
Brian Robinson.
Yeah, if we're talking this week, Brian Robinson for sure.
I feel like I keep getting haunted by saying no to everything Kyron, so I'm going to go Kyron. The guy's getting like 30 touches a game. One of those is bound to be in the end zone. Yeah. But I wouldn't hate you for going Robinson.
Good
on
matchup
that.
too.
Dino Man. Parentheses, Bray Wyatt fan,
nice.
Jalen Warren or Jonathan Taylor. Okay, this is a little bit too much in the other direction.
Yeah,
gotta go Taylor. Taylor. You're right, Brian.
Yeah.
Rich
didn't want to use his voice on this.
Yeah.
And Jalen Warren, look, I get it, but even me, I'm wanting to see how JT does. I'm not going to start Jalen Warren over him. Let's not get crazy here, people.
Yeah.
Rhett again. Also, Bills are not as great as you think. They beat 3 mediocre teams
and lost to the GOAT team. Just
had to throw this in there.
Every metric conceivable, Rhett doesn't agree with you. I'm just saying.
MR PPR mix of 5 wide receiver, running back, tight end, max 3 any position. Not exactly sure what I'm reading here. McCaffrey, HN, and Laporta are in need to more. Pacheco. Oh, so he's got those 3 set.
Okay,
He
yeah,
needs
so
2
he
more from
needs-
this list. Now we're good.
Yeah.
And his PPR. Pacheco, McLaughlin, Tank Dell. He's gotten multiple guys of my guys. We got Marvin Mims and Garrett Wilson, Rich.
Definitely Garrett Wilson for me.
Yeah.
I think I think Tank Dell might be the safest play. So I'm going to go Garrett Wilson and Tank Dell.
Yeah, I like Pacheco as just like sort of a change of pace there. I think he had such a great game last week, and the Jets are no slouches on defense. So, that's Pacheco's something to consider. But yeah, Tank Dell would probably be, and also Garrett Wilson, obviously.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson, slam dunk. I'm also going to agree with you guys and say Tank Dell. I really like McLaughlin. I've been on him since the offseason, but we don't know what the share is going to look like. Javonte still could play, even though he hasn't practiced yet. Samaje Perine is going to be in there, even though I like McLaughlin for the rest of the season. I think Tank Dell is your play this week. We already said the hats question. Let's keep going. Chan the Monkey Man. I like that name. I'm stuck between more JT. I told you guys we had some JT questions. I'm stuck between JT and Terry McLaurin at flex. Terry plays tonight, and I don't know if JT is going to play at all. I think this is an easy one, Rich, but go for it.
For the reasons we all outlined with JT before, it's going to be Terry McLaurin, especially with this matchup.
Correct.
That's hard. It's just so hard to take JT out of your lineup. If he goes nuclear on your bench, you're going to hate it.
But here's the thing. Thursday night, if he chooses not to play McLaurin tonight, he cannot put him in if they decide, because we don't know 100% that JT's playing.
You're saying take the bird in the hand. I get it. I
against
totally
the bad Bears defense. It's not like they have a bad matchup. Yeah. So I'm with you guys. I'm definitely going to go. To me, McLaurin is an easy one there. Mr. Squishy 79, Jamison Williams or Tank Dell. Choose one for wide receiver 2 and 1 flex. Does it matter?
Each.
Pick one of each.
Are there different points in the flex position in your league? Because who cares? Like,
it's Tank Dell for me if we're just picking
100%.
between.
If we Tank Dell wide receiver, and if you got to play one in flex, play.
You got to see J-Mo do it.
Points are the same either way. We already addressed this one. Told you there's going to be some repeats. Gio Ortiz, should I start Barkley if he plays against Miami? Giants offense is horrendous, so I'm hesitant. Demon.
I don't know who your other options are, but it's tough to sit Saquon Barkley. I can't imagine you have a back on your team that's bigger in name than he is that you'd be benching. But I mean, if it's like a Khalil Herbert or something, I'm starting Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard. It's kind of like the Taylor one. It's just a little different because it's more health related. But I would definitely say, how do you bench Saquon?
He's going to be limited. It depends on your other options. I'm going to answer the same way. He could still get a goal line carry even if he only gets 10 touches. So unless you have a bona fide solid guy to start ahead of him, you kind of got to start Barkley here. Nipple. Should I start Roshan Johnson tonight, Demon?
Again, more context would help, but I'm going to lead no. I don't know who your other running backs are, but he didn't see volume last week. So
exactly. After seeing Khalil Herbert get the more than the lion's share of the touches last week, Roshan's exciting. He's talented, but it's just too risky for me. Jade Dragon, by the way, who I didn't highlight this comment, but he said he tested positive for COVID.
Oh man!
So shout out to Jade, an OG from this show from last year. So let's wanted to make sure to answer his question here, Kevin. Jahmyr Gibbs or Miles Sanders?
My two favorites.
Kevin's
the two guys that I'm a champion.
He's going to malfunction. He doesn't know what to choose.
It's got to be Gibbs, though. Just upside is just so there for Gibbs this week.
I agree with that. Yeah. I agree. I mean, I think the upside is better for Gibbs. Sanders would give you a safer floor, but yeah.
All right, we got about 5 questions. We'll get through these and finish up the show. Isaac G, by the way, I know there's more questions in the chat, but time is time, and use the super chat if you want to make sure your questions get answered next time. Isaac G, who should I start? Goff, Howell, or Stafford, Rich?
I'm leaning Howell because of the matchup tonight. I mean, I think he could have like one of those 40-point weeks. He can run. I just, it's Goff and Stafford, these guys. I mean, if you're looking for somebody who could do that this week, I think it's Howell out of these 3.
I like them all. I have a hard time picking. I'd probably say Stafford because of that Philly matchup, but I like them all.
I like Howell in this. I'll tell you why. So Goff, I think the Lions under Dan Campbell, they want to run the ball. The Panthers have a horrible run defense. So that's why we keep talking about this could be the Gibbs game. Montgomery is a good play this week. Stafford I like, but the Eagles still have, the secondary may be weak, but they have a great pass rush, and that offensive line definitely struggled
That's a good point.
Recently, whereas Howell going up against a Bears defense that's bad before they had like 3 secondary starters missing this week. Howell's feeling good overtime against the defending NFC champs, so I really like Howell as a play this week. Landon Fields, Herbert, Khalil Herbert again, Herbert, Dotson, or JT, Kev?
JT, it's that ceiling. I know you guys might say Herbert because he's got a safer floor, but I feel like that's just neither of those guys, Herbert or Dotson, are tantalizing enough to
Herbert.
pull
But
me
here's
off.
the thing: this is another Thursday night. Both Herbert and Dotson play in 10 minutes.
Yeah, don't
so
care.
if you choose not to and you choose to JT and they decide, you know what, JT's not ready to play.
Yeah, gotta figure it out then. You know, if it's fantasy.
Okay, Rich,
like
your thoughts.
Yeah. If I would take Dotson over Herbert. JT is so tantalizing though, but I don't trust it. So
right?
I think I'm going to go Dotson to be safe so that you're not stuck scrambling on Sunday.
Yeah, I like Dotson for the same reasons we just talked about. Howell is a great play. I think that he could, and it's just safer. Because it's Thursday night, because you don't get a chance to flex them in if they decide JT's not going to play. Darren Sparrow trade Stafford and DK Metcalf for Terry McLaurin and Christian Watson. I have Richardson at quarterback. What a nice problem to have, Rich.
I don't think I'm giving up DK for McLaurin and Watson. So I'm going to say no. I don't know. Maybe it's just the name. I think I can see we could see DK have a stretch of games this year where he's putting up 6 points for like 3-4 games. That could happen.
But the Seahawks are running 2 and 3 tight end sets. They're running the ball as much as they can. That's
Brian, you've watched football for many years, right? You know that things don't always stay the same. They don't always stay stagnant.
Well, but Pete Carroll kind of stays stagnant. Pete Carroll's been doing the same thing for like 20 years.
It's tough because it would depend on how badly you needed more assets, because you're liquidating DK there in that trade. You're turning him into 2 startable assets, but theoretically you're lowering the ceiling. I don't know if that's even true with respect to Demon's answer, because that was my first thought, Demon. But then I was like, man, how disappointing has DK been? I don't know if I hate McLaurin and Watson.
FYI, they're basically averaging the same amount of points per game. DK is slightly ahead, but it's like by half a point. This is not a gross difference. And you get Christian Watson. You don't need Stafford. So think of it this way. Stafford's a luxury, Rich. Right. You're trading DK for McLaurin and Christian Watson. I kind of like that side.
Which I don't know that I would do. I don't think I would do that. But
fair enough. That's why
2 against 1.
That's why there's 3 of us.
That's fantasy. That's the
better
beauty.
to have multiple opinions, and then you guys get to make the final decision. 2 final questions. Goof hoops. Purdy or Howell? I love this. So one dynasty league, I have both of these guys. Rich, we'll start with you on this.
I love Purdy. Purdy's floor is so safe, but I think if you're shooting for the moon tonight, Howell.
Yeah, I agree. And Goof Hoops, if that's a Stephon Diggs jersey in your profile picture, that's sick. But I'm going to go with Howell, just upside. Exactly. Purdy's floor.
In matchup. Purdy's got the Cowboys, and Howell has got the Bears that we've talked about multiple times. Let's finish it off with Travis Kelce or Sam Laporta.
That's a great joke.
Rich, what a great final question here.
I'm not at the point where I'm starting Laporta over Kelce yet.
Yeah, I mean, I can't.
Dino, I might do Laporta, but
No, this is for this week. A start or sit question.
Oh, started. Yeah, it's Kelce all day. Kelce over everybody, forever.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Dino,
all right. Thank you guys so much. We made it work, even though our producer Anthony Weiner wasn't here. Thank you so much for getting your questions in. Once again, you want to make sure those questions get answered, especially when there's no Anthony. Use the super chat on the Pro Football Demon YouTube channel. Thank you to Rich Jodice, the Pro Football Demon, Kevin Phillip Box, the Buffalo Trail. I am Brian McFadden on behalf of Legit Football. We will be back here every Thursday, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, to answer your fantasy questions. Hence the name, Fantasy Q&A Show.
Except for Thanksgiving.
Maybe even I'll be on here at Thanksgiving because we are degenerate here. Thank you so, guys. Enjoy as much as you can Thursday Night Football between the Bears and the Commanders. We will see you